I had 4 baseball coaches at Notre Dame High School, 3 of which were offensive line coaches that knew about the difference between a bat and a hat. They had no idea in terms of what baseball was concerned, but we knew how to do push-ups and we knew how to do laps and stuff like that. Well, last year I had a baseball coach, and then I came here and played for Phil Monroe for 2 years, and that was an upbeat and an experience, but Phil was limited baseball knowledge, basically. Very strict, disciplined guy. And then Stan came in, and the light bulb went off about 3 weeks into the season that things started making sense to me in baseball. Mental baseball is what was missing. You needed to be able to not take a third strike. You needed to be able to throw 4 pitches to a hitter and not walk them on 4 straight, because that was a nickel and then another nickel, which became a 15-cent fine with 4 balls and strike. And it made you start thinking about how you can eliminate mistakes even if you didn't have any talent. And it made the game make a heck of a lot of sense. Playing for him for 2 years, I learned a lot. He was the first baseball coach I had that really put the teaching part of it and the thinking part of it together, along with the physical skills. And I think you guys all attest to that. We all know our stories. My senior year was Dick's, he was the assistant baseball coach, a varsity baseball coach. He made some of the trips. He made the San Luis trip and some of the other trips. And it was my job to get, in those days we gave coaches gifts, you remember. Collected money and we either bought them something or put a trophy together. So Dick wore the same tie for every road trip. We had to dress in shirt and ties. He wore the same tie. It was a plaid tie. So the team said, get him a tie. So I went down to William Rogers in Northridge and said, give me the brightest tie you have. We're gonna give a gift to a coach, and it's kind of a gag gift, but it's nice. It'll be a nice gift. So this guy dresses his tie up, and I've taken it on the last bus trip. And Coach, thank you for your help this year, and give him this package. And he opens it, and he takes it off. And he says, "This is beautiful." Takes his plaid tie off, puts his tie on. He says, "This is the only other tie I own." But it was I think watching these two develop as professors, and I went on and played right after that with the Angels for a couple of years, and came back, and Stan asked me to run the freshman baseball team in '65, I think was my first year back, and that was the year that Dick was transitioning out, so I made a lot of the road trips with him and get to see these guys occasionally when I was with the freshman team. And it was a tremendous experience. It was great all the way through. And my last, in that 65 game, the San Luis trip, you got kicked out of the San Luis game. And
the umpire didn't understand.
Well, he understood.
Talk too much.
He understood perfectly clear what she said. So he gets run, and that night he said, "We're going to go to." It was Friday night. You hit the 2-run home run to win the game, and Herrick hit the 2-run home run to win the game after that. And he had sent a note down from the stands that he wanted me to try to get somebody into the ball game. And I had thrown batting practice, and Herrick was just hitting the ball all over the place. So I put him in as a pinch hitter. Gets a 2-run homer, win the game. But I didn't play the kid he wanted me to play. And I thought, this is going to be bad. So he asked me to go to dinner that night. So we go to the Madonna Inn, and takes to a nice dinner. The two of us are sitting there at a table. There's couples all over the place. And he reaches over and he says, "I think this is the end of the world coming to me." He says, "Have you been to the bathroom yet?" I said, "No, this will go right now."
It's still a place to go.
Yeah. So it was a man that would surprise you in all times. Dick, after he left, and I think next time I saw you was we were down playing Arizona State, and you were doing the Angels versus the San Francisco Giants at Phoenix Stadium. And a Sunday game, you had me on the air, and we introduced you to the kids and watching the game. And then about 4 years later, was when Bostock was killed, and we had met him on the field before he left on that Chicago trip. And Dick was very instrumental in helping put together the Lyman Bostock Memorial Scholarship Fund. It was very, very nicely done, and the Angels supported that program for 3 years. They brought the whole club out here, run the part of that thing. So, good tradition. The thing that grew me up as a coach faster than anything in the world, Stan retired from baseball in '66. Yeah. And I get called in by Glenn Arnett to say in the second week in September, we'd like to put you as the head baseball coach. Well, what happened? Well, Stan is not in the department any longer. And so I'm 24 years old, the head baseball coach, following him. And 65, this club was in the playoffs, chance to go to Omaha. And he says, and I've cleared it so that you're on the committees with me. The committees that I was on with the American Baseball Coaches Association. I didn't know what that association was. I didn't know what committees he's on. But he was on the editorial committee, and he was on the, I think, an All-American selection committee. So my first meeting as a college baseball coach with other coaches was Danny Litweiler, who's on the editorial committee. I'm trying to think of the big guy that was at Minnesota, not Jerry Kendall. I'm blanking on who his name was. But I'm sitting around the table with these guys, and I'm on the editorial committee, and I've read every one of their books of coaching. I'm thinking, what am I doing here? I just shut my mouth for 3 days back there. But
San Fernando Valley State College out of Indiana University. I was earning my doctorate, and I had kind of given up all hopes of coaching, although that was my dream as I went to undergraduate school at Central Michigan. And Dean Oviatt, Delmar Oviatt, came back on a recruiting tour. We lived in the valley on the corner of DeSoto and Parthenia, 2 dirt roads during World War II. We had big juniper trees to try to keep all the dust from coming in the house. And then moved back to Michigan after the war in 1946. And so fast forward, now I'm at Indiana, being recruited to go teach or whatever, had my doctorate, thought I was going to stay at Indiana. They didn't offer me a job. I went into the dean. I started the Indiana University Sports Network, and I was teaching the most difficult class in graduate school at age 27, only because math wasn't difficult for me. So the dean called me, and I thought, well, he's going to hire me, and I'm being recruited by other schools. I go in, I only had one suit. I go in, and says, Denver, sit down. He said, are you being recruited? And I gave him all the fluff. Yeah, they're in Central Michigan and Temple, South Carolina, they all want me. He said, well, I just thought I'd give you a little piece of advice. We all had the short haircuts, the crew haircuts in those days. He said, I just wanted to talk to you about your hair. You look like a shaved prostitute. And that was it. I went in thinking he was going to hire me, and I go out thinking I look like a shaved prostitute. So I see this note on the recruiting board. The dean of San Fernando Valley State College is going to interview doctoral candidates at Indiana. I used to live in the San Fernando Valley. Now there's a college that close in Northridge to where we used to live. So out of curiosity, I signed up for the interview. And Oviatt was a very impressive guy. And he said, yeah, it looks like we have a place for you, assistant professor in health education. He said, but there's one caveat here. We need an assistant baseball coach. And that was the selling, it wasn't the negative. That sold me on coming back to the valley, that I finally going to get a chance to coach. And then to be able to coach with Stan. I mean, with his now, I still, as a broadcaster, use things that I learned from Stan, insights into the game that make me sound brighter than I really am. And the fact that what he meant as a pioneer to the program. I mean, Bobby was our shortstop, and Davila was on the third base on the left-hand side. And I coached the freshman team, even invented the Picadors as the nickname for the freshman team. And taught me how to hit that final pop foul in batting in infield to the catcher, which is the real jail. That was also, I practiced that hours on hours, so I didn't hit it into the crowd or hit it into center field. And to be able to work side by side with him as an assistant coach was not only a joy just because of my love for the game, but what a terrific man this guy is. And there ought to be some kind of little monument. I'll chip in if we ever want to for Jarnowski that I don't think he's ever gotten full credit. Handed the baton to Heegert, who got the national championship and kept the whole thing going. You talked about, Terry, the language. We're playing at UCSB, right? And after batting practice, he's standing and we're looking out and given the language, he says, look at that, Enberg. He says, isn't that surrealistic? A baseball coach using that word? Yeah, another thing, when he was a minor league player with Hal, they were the double play combination at USC. Remember, there was no expansion. There were only 16 teams. And had he and his brother been produced 4 decades later, they'd have been in the major leagues. I mean, they were at that talent. And I used to always marvel as Stan gave his demonstrations, especially around the bag and turning to. He's got a ballet dancer's feet. What do you wear, about a size 3? I mean, and how quick, I mean, his quickness of foot, even as a coach, was so much to admire. I don't think he really hit a lot of power, but I know you could feel.
7 home runs one year.
Really? Yeah. Inside the park?
No offense.
So I'm embarrassed by that. Please forgive whoever, that was a nice thought on their part, but and I was proud to wear that uniform, and it's part of my DNA. And the fact that this year that I'm voted the Frick Award to go back to Cooperstown is kind of the culmination of a privilege.
I was, in order to be eligible, I was a grade away. I took his health class, Health 2, and I had like an 89%. And I thought, and it was the grades were coming in, I thought, so I said, is there anything I can do extra credit? He said, yeah, you can go give blood.
Oh.
So I went down, gave blood, the first time I ever given blood before, came back with a certificate or whatever, and then I got my my grade, which, it was close. Yeah, but he made, that was the thing. You don't get anything for free. You have to do it. So I always remember that. So it's just.
Ooh, I was afraid you were going to say something else.
No. It was such a great experience. And then Stan, the way he approached umpires, I came in, I guess, but he. I remember one time he ran straight at this umpire. The umpire saw him, started coming right at him, and he went right around him, and then ran right back to the dugout. I don't know if you remember that, what game it was, and I thought, it was amazing. Yeah, but he's just a psychologist. A lot of great memories with everyone. It was nice.
Excuse me, Dr. Charnowski, if I could. On behalf of the athletic program and our athletic director, Brandon Martin, I want to thank you all for being here. It certainly is a pleasure for me personally to see you. We've heard about the 65 team. We've got it marked and branded out at our field. You'll see that. We want to do a photo op when we get out there with everyone. We have some hats that we want to distribute to you at this time, and then we're going to move out to the field. We need to steal Dr. Enberg for an interview out here outside. But in the meantime, thank you again very much for being here, and hope you enjoy it. We have some tents set up out there so you don't have to sit in the hot sun.
We'll start shipping you guys out here in about 20-25 minutes. Game 1 just ended. Game 2 is going to start at 1:50, so we'll shoot you guys out about 1 o'clock and put you in shifts, and I'll get you guys all set up out there. I think it's like 12:40 right now. In the meantime, finish eating. We have some wine here. If you want to take the bottle to go, that's great. Get yourselves a hat for the road. Make sure you guys all get one, and then I'll start shipping you guys out about 1:05.